Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kerri-Ann Jones. I'm the Assistant Secretary of State for Oceans, International Environmental and Scientific Affairs at the Department of State. And I'd like to welcome you all here today to the USRio+2.0 Conference, which is entitled Bridging Connection Technologies and Sustainable Development. Over the next 2.5 days, we have tried to design for you a very exciting and unique event to demonstrate the really great potential of connection technologies to advance solutions to sustainable development challenges. Now, this won't be your ordinary conference. We have a series of interactive events, plenary talks, and panels with participations of experts from around the world and from many different sectors. We will be exploring the latest issues and technologies, all with an eye towards furthering global sustainable development. And that effort that is going on and leading to the UN Conference on Sustainable Development, known as Rio+20, which will be held this June in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This conference that you're attending over the next few days is about connection technology and what it can do to advance sustainable development. So we thought to start this, rather than really have us sitting in a conference room, it would be best to start with the technology. We hope you've come with a willingness to really experiment and dive right in, because in this session this afternoon, we're kicking off with a conference in a unique way with a demo alley, also known as speed geeking, which is a term I've recently learned and I'm anxious to learn about. I've been told it's like speed dating. So I'm willing to experiment. This will be followed by a reception and some thematic dinners that are very graciously organized by our hosts here at Stanford's Graduate School of Business. So we're hoping this will be a great start to our conference. To get us started, we'll hear just from a couple of speakers, Nancy Sutley and Alec Ross. So let me introduce Nancy first. Nancy is the chair of the White House Council on Environmental Quality. In her role as chair, she serves as the principal environmental policy advisor to the president. Prior to her appointment, Nancy was the deputy mayor for energy and environment for the city of Los Angeles. Nancy has also worked for California Governor Gray Davis as energy advisor, managing state and federal regulations, legislative affairs, finances, and press relations. She also served as Deputy Secretary for Policy and Intergovernmental Relations in the California EPA from 1999 to 2003. During the administration of President Bill Clinton, Nancy worked for the EPA as a senior policy advisor to the regional administrator in San Francisco and special assistant to the administrator in Washington, D.C. So please welcome Nancy Sutley.
Thank you, Kerri-Ann. It's great to be here, and it's always great to be back in California, and a pleasure to be here at Stanford and to join all of you at this Rio+2.0 Conference. And I want to especially thank Stanford's Graduate School of Business and the State Department for bringing us all together. I think it's an interesting, that seems to be the word of the afternoon, interesting, an amazing and unique gathering, and important opportunity for us to all get together to talk about the challenges that face us. As I think everybody knows, 20 years ago, the first Rio meeting changed the way a generation views the Earth and put in motion a series of things that have fundamentally altered how we think about the world around us. And we've made some significant progress on the challenges that faced us in 1992. Millions have emerged from poverty across the globe, and childhood deaths are falling. And we're on track to meet the Millennium Development Goal of halving the number of people who do not have access to safe drinking water and sanitation. Deforestation seems to be slowing, although but it remains very high, and there are a number of serious issues that remain. We have not solved all the problems that we faced in 1992, and we're also facing new challenges that we didn't foresee then. Too many of the planet's citizens are undernourished and undereducated. Too many women and young people have no voice in their society, and in too many places and in too many ways, we are withdrawing our natural wealth at an unsustainable rate. Now, 20 years after the first meeting in Rio, we have an opportunity to change how we, all of us, now over 7 billion, interact with the world and with each other. The principles behind that first Rio conference still resonate. We should be able to live now and develop our economies and our societies without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Science has taught us a lot over the last 20 years about the way the world works and how we impact it purposefully or accidentally. And we've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't as we've tried to address the challenges before us. This transformation has become clear in the work that I do as chair of the White House Council on Environmental Quality. When we were founded 40 years ago, our main task was to identify when governmental actions raised environmental concerns. Today, where the President continues to stress that clean energy and a sound environment are an essential part of our economic recovery, we can work across government to promote sustainability and leverage a new range of capabilities. And so we're going into Rio this time with a clearer understanding than ever of how all our sectors are interrelated and interdependent. Rio+20 focuses on green economy in the context of sustainable development and poverty eradication. And this is an acknowledgement that we can't try to address each challenge disparately and expect to create lasting solutions. And so we're working at the intersection of environment and economy, of health and education, of equity and transparency to find solutions that cross disciplines, just like this group does here. The United States sees Rio+20 as an opportunity to re-energize global sustainable development efforts with an emphasis on strengthening links among the economic, environmental, and social pillars of sustainable development. We believe that sustainable development is about more than protecting the environment. Of course, it's essential that we protect our natural resources, including our waters, our forests, our oceans and coasts. We must properly value these fundamental services that these resources provide and build those values into our decisions so we can keep the foundations of our economies and our societies strong. But with 50% of the world's population now living in urban areas, sustainable development today is also about providing a built environment that ensures access to energy and clean water and to education and health services. It's about giving workers the skills they need to compete, to fuel economic growth in green industries. It's about ensuring that people all over the world, no matter where they live, have enough safe, healthy food to live healthy, productive lives. And it's about producing food in such a way that provides for the health of the land and the water we all depend on. It's also about linking people more effectively with their governments and decision makers and building bridges between governments and civil society groups, small businesses and large industries, and women and youth and all the other actors. We believe that sustainable development is not just about national governments and international organizations, but includes work by government at all levels and groups across sectors. And we know the active engagement of the private sector, of youth and women and scientists and academics is fundamental to a sustainable future. This is reflected in the work being done in the run-up to Rio, in the report of the Secretary General's high-level panel on global sustainability, in the hundreds of submissions sent to the UN from governments, civil society organizations, and businesses as their contributions to this discussion, and most immediately right here at this conference. At this conference, we'll focus on several areas of sustainable development, including health, the environment, agriculture, and sustainable economic growth, with the goal of advancing practical and achievable solutions. In many cases, these challenges aren't new, and they continue to be very challenging, as many of you know firsthand. But now we have tools at our disposals that most of us didn't even imagine 20 years ago. Cell phones connect us like never before, particularly in the developing world. The internet has put a vast amount of information literally at our fingertips, and social media gives us access to incredible networks of people and information. The world is a different place than it was in 1992. And the challenge for all of us here today, with our various backgrounds and experience and knowledge, is to determine how these technologies can help us address some of the most persistent problems we face across the sustainable development spectrum. This is an opportunity for us not only to offer new ideas and solutions, but to reframe the substance and the form of the conversation. 20 years ago at Rio, we may have realized that sustainable development requires engaging a wide spectrum of stakeholders, but we didn't have the same means to do so as we do now. So over the next couple of days, we're going to set the stage for a new way of approaching our global challenges and engage in a new type of international meeting. And not only have we brought together the diverse and dynamic group in this room, but we're streaming this meeting live for the whole world to see, and I'm sure they're all watching. And we'll do things at this meeting that some of you might not have experienced before, things like the speed geeking demonstrations we'll see later this afternoon. It'll provide us a window into the range of innovative technologies that are being applied to development challenges. The goal is to use our diverse knowledge to develop ideas for harnessing the power of technology to advance solutions for our most pressing sustainable development challenges and continue to work on them as we prepare for Rio. And then in Rio, we want to present these ideas to the world, to the thousands of people who probably didn't tune in today, but the thousands of people who will be with us there, as well as those who will be participating virtually. The challenges of sustainable development affect us all, male and female, young and old, rich and poor, tech savvy and tech averse. And now we have the ability to truly work together to develop solutions, and we intend to take full advantage of that opportunity. So thank you all for coming and being a part of this effort. And we certainly look forward to working with all of you towards a healthy, prosperous, and sustainable future for the United States and for the world. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nancy. I'd like to introduce our second speaker, Alec Ross. Alec serves as Senior Advisor for Innovation to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, so we share a boss, where he is tasked with maximizing the potential of technology and innovation in service of America's diplomatic and development goals. And he is stewarding Secretary of State Clinton's 21st century statecraft agenda. Prior to his service at the State Department, Alec worked on the Obama-Biden presidential transition team and served as convener for Obama for America's Technology, Media, and Telecommunications Policy Committee. In 2000, Alec and 3 colleagues co-founded One Economy, a global nonprofit that uses innovative approaches to deliver the power of technology and information about education and jobs, healthcare, and other vital issues to low-income people. During his 8 years at One Economy, it grew from a team of 4 people working in a basement to the world's largest digital divide organization with programs on 4 continents. Alec started his career as a 6th grade teacher in inner-city Baltimore through Teach for America. Alec, welcome.
Thank you, Kerri-Ann. You read that bio just like my mother wrote it.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad.
It's a good thing. I want to convey a very warm welcome today and sincere appreciation from Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. When Secretary Clinton was testifying before the United States Senate, preparing to become secretary during her confirmation hearings, she described a world in which, as she described it, the promise and peril of the 21st century is no longer bound by vast distances and national borders. And what she was talking about were the increasing power and increasing ubiquity of connection technologies. And she was talking about the force and effect of climate change. And so I think that this session that you're going to be a part of over the next couple days, I think is really important, bringing together and examining connection technology-based solutions to the sustainable development challenges that have plagued us over the past several years and which are only going to grow in importance and centrality in all of our foreign policy interests in the years ahead. if somebody were to ask me what the one thing that I've learned in the last 3 years working for Hillary Clinton is, what I would say is that there is a massive shift in geopolitical power taking place right now. And most people think of the shifts of geopolitical power taking place on a geographic basis, from west to east, from Europe and the United States to Asia, or from the global north to the global south. What I would argue is that whether that is true or not, and to the extent to which that is true or not, there's actually a far more significant shift of power that's taking place right now in almost all 195 countries on planet Earth. And that is a shift of power from hierarchies, including the nation state, including governments. A shift in power from hierarchies to citizens and networks of citizens. And this significant shift of power that's taking place from hierarchies to citizens and networks of citizens is taking place in large part because of increasingly ubiquitous and increasingly powerful information networks and the technologies that attach to them. And so the challenge and opportunity for the next couple days is for us to think about how we can harness these tools of growing power and harness them in a solutions-oriented way. You know, historically, the way that diplomacy is conducted is across, two people, white shirt, red tie, pinstripe suit, sitting on opposite sides of a mahogany table with a flag flying in the background. This is the manner in which our diplomacy has largely been conducted for hundreds of years, and that remains an important part of the way in which we engage diplomatically. But sessions like this show that it is possible for us to bring new voices and new actors into policy development. It shows that we can use new approaches to policy development, including speed geeking, and see if we can come up with some solutions that, if brought to that mahogany table, can really begin to get some interest, attention, and some forward momentum. And the thing that Hillary Clinton has committed to do is to help make sure that efforts like those that are going to take place over the next 3 days here do find a place at that mahogany table. And so, in closing, what I would ask from all of you is that you not be passive participants over the next 3 days. The very nature and design of what has been architected here for you is for it to be very active, for it to be very participatory. And so get a little bit out of your comfort zone if this is out of your comfort zone. And let's see if working together over the next couple days we can come up with some ideas, some solutions that brought to the decision-making tables where all of where countries from around the world will convene and think about how we can address the biggest challenges in the world of sustainable development. Let's see if there are ideas that can come out of this convening and can drive solutions for the future. So with that, I thank you, and I'll hand it back over to Kerri-Ann.
Thank you, Alec. And with that, I think there's been enough discussions, and I'd like to call up the moderator for our speed geeking session.
Thank you very much, and welcome again. My name is Larry Gumbiner, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Oceans, Environment, and Science. I am not the moderator for your speed geeking session. I have the august responsibility of keeping you another minute from your speed geeking session. But I just wanted to give a couple of general housekeeping announcements before we move on. First, all buildings and most public space here is non-smoking. There are 2 smoking areas nearby. One is behind a CEMEX auditorium on Arguello Street, and one is across Sarah Street in front of the Schwab Residential Center. So be forewarned that even outside you might not be following the rules in smoking. Also, we are really pleased and really thankful for Stanford student volunteers who will be helping us throughout the conference. They will be wearing a blue cap. I don't know if we have any of those in the audience right now who could hold it up, but if not, you will be seeing them later on because they will be escorting you. For those of you going to the Stanford Connection dinners across the way, they will be there to escort you in that direction. Lastly, before I turn it over, we'll be having a reception after the initial speed geeking session. We'll have time to chat, for informal chat with our various speed geekers, as well as a reception. We'd like to thank Intel Corporation for being so kind to have put on this reception. And with that, let me turn it over to the real moderator for your next experience, and that is Mr. Noel Dickover, who's our Chief of New Social Media in our e-diplomacy office. Noel?
Thank you. Do I have my mic? Yes, I have my mic on. Okay, so how many of you have done speed geeking before? So what you're going to see is a number of tables around the outside and the inside, and each of you should have gotten a very cool number that actually corresponds to the numbers on the tables. Here's what's going to happen. This is going to be structured chaos. Expect it to be chaotic. That's cool. That's okay. That's kind of the plan. You're going to go to your table. The technologist there, when I tell everybody to go, is going to spend about 3 or 4 minutes telling you a story of how their most awesome, cool thing made a difference in sustainable development. You'll have a minute or two for question and answer. I will then do a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, probably louder and meaner. And I'll ask everybody to go to the next station. And the next station is a clockwise endeavor. So one of the larger circle is around the outside, starting number 1, and it goes all the way around to number 18. And then we have a secondary circle in the inside going 18 to 28. So whatever your number is, you're going to want to go to that table, and you'll go to the next one clockwise. If you're in the middle, you're going to stay in the middle. If you're in the outside, you're going to stay on the outside. And you're going to get to see 10, not all of them. But then over wine, you're going to have another 45 minutes to catch up on some of the other ones you didn't. So the idea here is to give you what's possible with low-cost, easy-to-implement technologies and making a major difference in sustainable development. Hopefully this will kick off a lot of the conversations we have over the next 2 days. Sound good? Okay, so we're missing a few technologists, Sarah. So everybody has your number. Start going to your table.